Onegaishimasu. Okie dokie. We'll start with a little bit of loosening. So, the body bounce. Yeah. You can play a little bit with the position of the head. So play with it kind of down. And also quite nice is also stretch up through the neck a little bit. Oh, hello. Along. Going up. Okay. Try oh, hello, someone's coming through. Oh, it's Robert. Okay. Just try a little bit with this. Because it's kind of pandiculation, it's kind of stretching the head on one. In a way, it's kind of coming to stiffness, but you don't want to go to stiffness with it. 1 second. Oh. Hello. Okay, so just try, you basically do the same, but through it you can also come up into a kind of movement and then let it drop. So in a way it's kind of coming the body into tension, but you don't want to do it kind of rigidly. So just it's basically you would kind of naturally do it. Just kind of stretch. So just and almost all the time this includes the arms. Especially with animals, you see the animals do this really the first thing in the morning, especially dogs, cats. You can see very clearly they do these kind of movements. Just mix it in with that kind of very, very loose. Good, and then just playing with the front and back. Keep it nice and loose. Kind of from the chest and the upper back. So you kind of hold these positions, yeah, and then pass them forward. Okay, and just take it into side to side. And really now trying to really mobilize the rib cage, especially the lower ribs. Let's hold side of the body. Also including a slight kind of rotation through the torso. In this case, it's quite different from moving from the hips, where we do these kind of movements. In this case, it's kind of a little bit when we do these exercises this way with the torso. So it's a little bit like this, but just see if you can basically, again, my focus is still on the torso, but you're basically starting to move with kind of rotations. Keep the arms nice and loose, as loose as you can do. And also play with these kind of moves where you're kind of coming down this way. Most of the mobility is coming from the upper body and the torso. You sometimes find it easier to kind of imagine the point of the body in the center of the chest and kind of drawing circles with it. Just moving it to different positions. That's it. We'll play a little bit going down, not too much. Just let the arms kind of come down. So play a little bit with the idea of kind of drawing the body up in this position. Just play. Really any kind of movement you can make. The hips are nice and grounded. You're just trying to mobilize the torso. Then we just come to the hips. So just start nice and loose. That's it. And then this is the point in the body where you start to move everything from the center of the body, working from the hips, this whole area. Just start to feel this kind of, the movement feels now very balanced. So you've got these kind of equal, the movements being passed equally up and down. There. They're pretty balanced. Play a little bit with the hands. So just kind of rolling them out. And letting go. And then just start to feel that you can really connect the hip movement into the shoulder. And then you start to slightly open this movement out a little bit. And again, just really experiment with it. Sometimes I find this a lot easier to do just one side. So I'm really just focused on the side of the body. And you can also kind of feel the shoulder as well, so that you've got a kind of second point of connection. So I can do that. I can think the connection, or I can put the mind into the connection, but I can really also use the hand just to increase the feeling in a way in the whole area. That's good. So good. And then if you can just start to kind of play with both. Nice and loose. A little bit like you're throwing the hands away. Also try and include, we tend to do these kind of in the front. So if you can also start to include the back as well. So opening out the movement all the way. So just keep everything nice and loose. And even though the upper body feels probably quite loose, quite soft, trying to keep the feeling that the lower body is very grounded, very heavy. That's good. Good. And then just do the same. Basically, you're going to do it with the arms down, and just let the arms drop. So the first thing, just feel them drop, feel the weight, pull them down, and then just start to open the movement out. The key in this is that I can do this if I'm up like this with the shoulder, but I can also do it in a sense where the hip finds the shoulder. So just see if you can basically release through the arm, release through the spine, and see if you can really feel the connection between what the hip does and what the hand does, which basically it starts with quite simple movements. So just let them kind of swing. And again, you might feel this easier just to do it one-sided and just kind of touch with the other hand on the shoulder. Just that this also helps if I can feel that if I'm carrying the shoulder or holding the shoulder and creating the movement, or whether I feel the movement just pass into the shoulder. So this is a quite nice exercise. And again, keeping the weight in the lower body and letting it really sink mostly into the back, into the heels. You should feel pretty grounded. And then just kind of work movements through the arms. Sideways movements, kind of swinging through the legs. And you've also got kind of circular movements. And it all depends just on what the hip's doing and how the connection's being passed to the hand. And just change sides. You might find this easy also to close the eyes, because there's a tendency to kind of watch everything in the hands and the feet. And that can kind of disrupt the posture. So just let everything go. And then if you can just come to two hands, let everything just release. And again, just go to the fact that the hips and the hands Just swinging it through and really allow the lower body to release more and more. Feel that the body's kind of hanging off a cliff. The upper body's going to kind of release more and more down towards the ground. And if you like in this position, also play with the hands in the ground and just play with passing the movement through the whole body. So you've got 4 points of contact. You can really explore the weight of the body, just passing through these contact points, and look for a real sense of flexibility through all the joints. And you can play a little bit with the distance between the hands and the feet. So just play a little bit. They can be very close to the feet. You might find quite difficult. You're in a kind of forward fold. Or it can be a bit further away. Just play a little bit with it. Also, you can also play with 3 points of contact. Then you can really feel one side of the body can really loosen, or one hand. So just play a little bit with it. And obviously you can release one of the legs. Then you start to go into positions. Just play a little bit. So playing the fingertips. Good. And then what I want to do is just refine the center of the body. Center all the weight. The hand should be quite light. And then just feel that you can start to pull the body up and do this nice and slow. Pull, pull, pull. So you're basically straightening up through the knees. And then let the fingertips find the toes onto the feet. You're going to trace up the leg. And just feel that you're pulling the body up with the hips. Right from the center of the body. Everything's going to go back and down. Pull the body up real slow. To the top. Okay. And then we'll just go up to these stretches with the breath. Take this nice and deep, very slow. Stretch right up, create some space in the vertical, and then open it out, forward, bending the knees. Nice and slow, deep breath out. And try and release the lower back. And then again, just coil the body up. And just experiment with the distance between the legs. You might find this also nice to have a little bit of a wider posture. And also nice with a little bit of a narrower posture. So just experiment a little bit. And the key again is the same, this heavy lower body and quite relaxed but really lengthened upper body. Try and maintain the length from the top all the way through. So this is also really an exploration of the spine as well. Stretching, straightening, lengthening the spine, and also coiling and curling at the end. And just one last time, nice and deep, nice big move. And nice and slow back up. Okay, good. And we'll just stretch the side, so just stretching up again, reaching up. And just let the body come all the way over. Nice and slowly release it, and then to the other side. And just explore in this case with which foot you ground. So you can do it in both feet, and it just depends. Just change a little bit which part of the body gets stretched. So you can play with keeping the weight in the same foot, And we're rolling over. I find this one easier because, I find it more beneficial because it emphasizes this whole line through the body. It feels a little bit more grounded. Both are quite nice moves anyway, so. Okay, just go to the hips, nice big circles. And then the other way. And the knees. You just play with this one. You can obviously do this like this way, but also play if you feel quite flexible this morning. You can also play with quite a larger movement, and as you come to the back, straighten. So you kind of do this. But if you feel this is kind of painful at all, don't do it. Go into a kind of very quite small movement. But the key part in this one is that you're kind of coming back with the knees. So you're kind of straightening at the back. And just play in both directions with this. Big circling. And it shouldn't feel uncomfortable at all. So just listen to your own body. So just a little bit wider. And just play with basically rolling the hips down. Hands on the knees. And again, I just use the hands on the knees just to kind of feel what's going on in the knee. And again, this shouldn't be painful at all. So the key thing in this, try and avoid doing kind of this kind of thing where you're pushing the knees away. So just allow the knees to kind of mobilize. It's a kind of very loose squatting motion. So good. That's it. Good. And then you might come a little bit wider. Just play a little bit stretching or straightening and bending one leg. Keep it nice and light. Let the body kind of sink. See if you can just feel the weight of the body just get drawn down. As you probably get more and more into it, you can also bring the hands down to the ground. You're quite comfortable. A bit more. And the position of the hands. So, and then just make it a little bit wider and just let the body sink down. Hands are basically just above just in front of the feet. Good, and just playing with the hips, so you're just going to come up, drop down, use the hands as a support, and just come up. Keep this nice and light. Just there. And really looking again, just to mobilize this whole area. The body, the feet should feel nice and comfortable. And use the hands as much as you feel you need to. So I need them as a big support, or you can also not use them at all. Just there. And about 10, just coming down. So. Good, just one more. And then stay at the bottom with the hands and just walk them forward. And do this nice and easy. Usually just until I get into the fingertips, but around about here, and just kind of let's dance a little bit through the body. Feel the hips pull back a little bit. And basically trying to lengthen the spine in this. So just think about releasing through the spine, pulling the body back. It's as if someone's got their hands on the hips behind you, or they're just slightly drawing the hips back. Just feel that you're kind of lengthening. And then just take one hand down, so it's basically in line with the shoulder and the chest. Yeah, so it should feel nice and stable. You might want to draw the feet up a little bit, and then just roll up, nice and dynamic. Just roll up with the hand. Stretch up open. And you can do this in a kind of like a windmill. You can do this with the arm kind of extended, opening out. Or you can also do it by bringing the hand to the chest first and then opening out. They do different things, so one of them you might feel more beneficial. Just what about 8? And then just drop the hand, change it, and just do the same on the other side. The first one's a bit slower. And then as you get into it, just make it a bit more fluid. Opening out. And then just let the hands drop. Both hands on the ground and just let the body sink down. Just release through the upper body. Just a few seconds. And then pressing more weight into the hands, just release through the feet and just bring the feet together. So start to work the feet together. And you'll feel the weight starts to transfer back onto the feet. And just take one moment just to this kind of forward fold. Just a few breaths. And then just do the same as we did before. So you're just going to kind of drag the body up, go up through the toes, kind of activate the pelvis, draw up the body, and just very slowly breathe in as you do it. Just pull the body back up to a vertical. Center. Still. Okay, good. And just shake the body up a little bit. Okay, good. Just sink a little bit at the arms, feet. Just rolling the arms. And back to the whole body. And just let the body center. And just make the movement smaller and smaller until you come to a stop. Okay, good. So take a bokken. Do more bokken. Good. So we'll just start with these kind of swinging movements. Just shoulder width apart. So just raise up, find the back, keep it very, very light. Just drop through. And really trying to establish a vertical through the body. Just let everything drop. Got a soft-ish floor, carpet, or something. Just let the sort of gently kind of drop into the ground. Just really let everything drop down. That's Just in this case, play a little bit with the balance, and you're basically going to throw the body off balance. So it just, in a sense, it's nice to feel. We tend to think we're balanced, and we're actually probably in one direction or not. So in this case, what I want you to do is really exaggerate being out of balance. So you've got obviously to the front and to the back. So just play a little bit. The front one's the easiest because you just throw everything forward and just feel what happens in the body. So I come here and I throw the body forward this way. Also play a little bit with kind of pulling the body back this way. So I feel that the weight shifts to the heels and the body basically falling over backwards. Just play a little bit with this up. Play with one coming really to the front. And let the body kind of sit back. Go. And just feel that kind of those moments of imbalance. So you're just going to slightly exaggerate being out of balance. Just so you really get the body, you really get a feel for the body being out of balance. In a way, you're going to make it happen. Okay. And just listen to the body. It's a bit like when I was doing this, falling off the sofa. The body has this kind of this moment where you're falling, and you can either pull back and stop it, or you can let it happen. So you've got that kind of that moment. So when the body comes out of balance, you've got this either get pulled forward, or the body goes into kind of tension and tries to oppose it. So it's just feeling, just listen to that kind of reaction. It's kind of very interesting. Yeah, good. So, good. And then just go towards much more centered. So the problem with when I think I'm centered is I'm probably actually in the front. So now I think, oh, that feels really familiar to the one when I was throwing myself forward. So just really feel that. Try and really feel a sense of being centered in that. Now I'm really in the front, but I think I'm balanced, but I'm actually not. So just look for something that's much more balanced. And you might find this also easier to close the eyes. It depends on how you feel the body, but you might find it's easier to either close the eyes or at least kind of soften the vision. There. Oh. Nice. And that hopefully you feel that rather than the body being thrown off balance, you've got this moment where the body's either falling or going into tension. Hopefully you feel the sense that you just settle. So the whole body should feel totally calm. So as you go through it, the body should just feel just settles everything. Good. And it really has this feeling for me, it's like a stone dropping into water. Just everything goes into the ground. Nice. Okay, good. Very good. 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 And we'll keep with the swing, just go into handling. So feel free to do some on the right side and some on the left. Just changing your own time. And you can do this really simply by you can either keep the feet as they are and just focus on this kind of swing. Okay. Just focus on the swing through. You can also do the whole thing of kind of bringing the foot back and then coming forward. So just focusing, again, just releasing towards the ground. Really forward. So just focus on, feel much more grounded. And play left side, right side as you feel. Good. That's it. So there's a tendency now as we go into the footwork becomes, in a way, it's kind of coming back, forward, and then I kind of drop into it. Feel in this case that you've got this kind of anchor in the back, of this whole side of the body is the kind of anchor to it. And then feel that you drain through, you keep the weight draining through the side. And then feel that this side of the body basically just kind of falls forward. So feel, just play for a moment. This idea is basically you ground everything and then just pass through that foot, rather than in a way kind of coming and deliberately stepping and then dropping into it. But feel that the body just kind of, in a way, kind of walking or moving into hands like a controlled fall. So you're actually, I'm kind of falling through and controlling it. So in a way, it's got much more this sense of control a fall, but not in a way kind of doing it and then falling into it. It's possible to do both, but just get the sense of everything's going to kind of swing. Right, that's it. Just play the left side. For me, the right side's easier, but the left side's nice to change. Ah, good. Nice. Good. And then just play basically with alternating. So you're going to come to the back. Yeah, you basically do a kind of same goal. So just let everything drain down. Be balanced in the body, and then just release it on the ground here. You might find this quite, in a way, it's kind of tricky because more of the sword back up. Try and avoid in this case pulling up with the arms. So just have the sense that the arms go and follow the body. And it feels a bit. Well, it should be. It actually feels very weak in the body, and that's kind of actually what you want. You want a sense of the upper body just following it. Good. Okay. And just try this one. This is a slight variation on it. You're going to basically find the back each time. So you come to here, rotate through it, find the back. Yeah, and then release it. Rotate through it, find the back, and release the tip is really slow. You've got now this moment here, very stacked. Hopefully grounded through your feet and then release it. You're basically finding this anchor again, this back side of the body, and release. Good. 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 Nice. Good. Good. Nice. That's very nice. Good. We'll just come to number 2. So again, just focusing on the body and really lessening the sword work. So coming back, you do the whole movement, find the back, and then just cut through. But just to let the bokken swing down. So very light in the last movement. Here, back, find the back. Whoa. Swing through. And again, really looking for the center in the feet. Right in the middle. Oi. Let the body just drain towards the ground. In this case, just focus a little bit on the width in the shoulder. So as you do this, one of the nice things about doing the swing is that I can really get a sense that the shoulders can in a way come back into it in a kind of natural position. So if you think of all these swinging movements we do, the shoulders are basically going to have this feeling of being kind of pumped back and down. The moment we go to sword work, there's always a tendency we go into these kind of positions. I basically close this part of the body off, so and I become quite, in a way, kind of narrow. So in a way, I'm use the hand to become kind of narrow, but I don't kind of allow the sword to kind of close me out this way. So just play a little bit with the idea of width through the shoulders, and that's all the time through this work. So I'm trying to kind of work it here also in the kamae. It feels a bit tight. So I'm really trying to consciously open and expand this direction. And then through here, also the same, trying to really open this line out. Find the back. This finding the back is very good because it automatically releases through the shoulder. This whole line opens out. And then see if you can maintain it through this position. And if it means also kind of bringing the sword back or just really releasing through one side, just do that. So that's just really to get this through the whole, in this width of the body. So that. Through this position, release. That. Much more, look for much more kind of weight. That's it. Nice. Try this. This is an interesting one. So you just do this now kind of one-sided. So as you descend, normally the problem in terms of width work is the right hand, because there's a tendency in terms of suburi work to do this with the shoulder kind of, there's an extra kind of push forward. We don't really, probably don't see this so extreme in us in our group, because we really try and emphasize not to do it. But in a sense, it's kind of always there because it's, in a way, it's a kind of natural thing. So once I kind of push forward with the front. So in this case, you're going to just use the front hand, and I'm going to look for, as you come through, do this with both, and then release the left hand, and just find this position here. Now it's not going to have the feeling of an impact, it's just going to have the feeling of placing. So you're just going to come back, roll through, and then just there. And you can do what you like with this hand. The key is this shoulder, just really watch the shoulder as you do it. If I'm used to pushing forward with it, I will now find this happens. The body automatically gets pulled out. So it will almost be impossible to hold the body in place. So just look for something that's balanced. Just release it through. You can look for the shoulders to be kind of open as you do it. That's it. Yeah, good. Ah, good. I like these kind of exercises. You can either do them really badly or really well. There's not so much room in the middle. So it's a case of doing it balanced. Yeah, that's it. Very nice. Yeah. Mm. Good. So, and you're going to do the same now with the left. What I want to do with the right hand is just kind of lessen it. So as you come through, find the left and just come into this kind of position. So with the right hand, I'm just kind of loose. So I'm in the same kind of position as I would take, but I'm not going to kind of push forward. So also this is a good exercise if I find that I'm kind of pushing or I feel I'm kind of doing something with the shoulder, I'll just open the hand out so the hand can't grab. So I'm forcing the hand not to take control of the sword. So do this all the same. This is nice and light. Open out and then just feel the left hand comes into place and the right hand just gonna follow the movement. So I just want that right hand just to follow the other. There. And again, looking for width in the body. Yeah. The right hand is just gonna follow. Again, it's gonna have this quality of placing because you don't really have the power to focus. Yeah, and you can release it entirely. If you feel kind of comfortable, you can also kind of release the right hand. Good. Yeah, very nice. Great. Good. Okay, good. And then just bringing the hands together. So coming back. Now really feel that you kind of descend through the arc. And then you're going to have a feeling that the right hand doesn't overly dominate. Just place it and then just feel that you can add a very light focus. So just keep the focus very light. I don't want the focus to be the focus of this exercise. So just let the body find it back. Very, very light focus. And just keep in mind this idea of really width through the shoulders as you do it. All the way through, release. That's it. What you might find also nice is as you finish the cut, very lightly, just to drop everything down. And just this is also a nice feedback on the body because if the body does, in a sense, if I finish the cut and then I release it and the body comes back into balance, and I was probably out of balance in the cut, so just explore a little bit this dropping down. We come back, cut, and then just release everything. The body should feel quite relaxed. Obviously in a kind of engaged, dynamic way, but everything's going to rest down. That's it. Very nice. Good. Good. So just go to Yokomuchi, and again, just coming back to a kind of idea of swinging. Just going to roll the body in and just roll it down. So it's very light. And again, if you've got a softish floor, just allow the bokkens kind of rest into the ground. So you've got now a much different position in the end. Roll it to the head, roll it down. Just let everything release down. And again, you can play with the hands. You can keep both hands on the sword. You can also release one side. Just going to slightly change it a little bit. Go to the full, in a way, the full Suburi where you're starting in the right side, come up. And I just want you to take a step forward, but release through the curve. So you come through, release, and then just come back. So working with a stepping movement. Start with the Kamai nice and grounded. Release through the curve. You come back. Really calm movement. Left side, right side, just explore the same idea. I watched a really great video. I'll send it to the group later. But he's a Dutch guy and he's in Amsterdam, and he works with these Indian maces. So these really heavy iron maces. He's really incredible. So he does all these kind of fancy tricks with it. But if you see what he's essentially doing, is he's connecting the center to the hands. So he's actually doing the same thing we do, but he's doing these big kind of movements with these really heavy maces. They're like 40 kilos or something as he does them. So what I want to get this feeling is that the bokken's actually anchored in the center. So it's really, really tempting to do this, and in a way kind of do this with the arms, and then swing through. So this, just focus on the very first moment. It's very easy to do, and then come through with the body. Just get a sense, just see if you can work into this feeling there. The center is actually going to raise the sword. So really feel this connection to this, and then really feel the center has really a kind of anchor in the movement. So just look. You can play with this a little bit. This is basically what we do here when we do this, but you're now rotating it through a spine. So you've got this connection, but now the connection's like this. So you feel that. Imagine your bokken's very heavy, and just feel this kind of connection. But it's very tempting to do this. Yeah, this. But just feel you can get a sense that the center kind of casts the sword into the movement. Yeah, in a sense, it's the same. If you use something heavy, something heavy is a really great teacher for balance, because if my tendency is to do this, automatically I feel the whole body go, ah, shit, I can't do it. So Just that, and then all I essentially do is train the muscles to use strength to do it. So just again get a sense that the center can basically swing up through the movement. So that it's actually the center swinging, or it's the center initiating the swing. The center doesn't really swing. That, and then what you're doing here is something a bit more complicated because the center's doing that, and then the arms are rolling through it. So the center's doing one, that. And I'm allowing the movement to pass through, but it's very easy to do that. And if I do that for too long, my arms just go. Play a little bit with it. Yeah, good. That's it. Rolling, good. Yeah, just play with it. Yeah, good. That's it. Rolling, keep playing with that. Good. That's it. Very nice. Okay, and then we'll just play with number 6 and number 7 to the end. So just come back into a kind of form. You come here to the back, strike through, and then we're going to 6. Just feel the center presses out, and then you press through. So nice clear form, just one come. And then really feel the center presses it out. Just keep it nice and light in the focus. Again, really focusing on the body. Center. Just feel that everything's really exploding out from the center, especially in this movement. Boom. Nice. Okay, just try this in a kind of Zengo gi. So you could just go to the back, cut down on the right side, thrust, and then roll to the back, left side, thrust. So just really focusing now on the center connecting to the sword, and then boom, passing it through the ski. Center connects, center connects, center connects, center connects. Just play a little bit in this case again. It's a bit like when you make the cut and you release down. You do the same thing. So you find the cut, thrust, and then just when you can release down. The body again should feel like it's already dropped into the center. So there's no feeling I get here. I release and the body comes back to center. So just look for the body to be in a kind of dynamic center position. Just release it. You should feel the body's inclined forward for sure. The spine's inclined into the movement. But the center is basically grounding down. That. It shouldn't really be an effect in the body. Just put it down. Release it. And also again, playing with the kind of width through the shoulders a little bit. The first thing is just listen to what the body does. So as you drop it, just pay attention to what the body does. That's nice. That's it. Very good. Nice. Good. And we'll just do number 7 to finish last, but just going to slightly change it. So you're going to now do a more of a dynamic move. The first move, rather than just finding the back, I want you to spring forward, find the cut, and then find the ski. So just in this case, find the kamari, nice and balanced, and then from here, just everything comes forward. Everything comes forward. So you've got the 2 big, in a way, very, very kind of positive moves forward. This, and then this. And the body needs to be pretty well balanced to do these with a kind of heaviness. Really looking for a sense of calm through the whole motion. Oh, yeah, totally.
Michael, with this first movement, do you actually have the feeling that your left hip is actually pushing the sword upwards?
In this, I feel the. I feel in this case, my focus is to think about the center and just think about this pushing the sword forward, but not pushing the foot. Think it's coming from it's coming through the left hip, from the back foot through the left hip, and then out, kind of expanding into the center of the body. So yeah, the left foot there, and it travels down. That it comes through the left hip, and then boom, out to the center. My feeling in this move is like the hands are like this, and then I do this. So it's a feeling of like everything contained down into the center, and then boom, kind of explodes out. And that's in this kind of one. It's like the center causes the raise. Yeah. Something like
So
that.
you're basically using your center and your thrusting movement forwards.
Yeah, exactly. I like this movement because if you think that it's a kind of extension of number 6, this kind of movement. There's an extension of that kind of thing where I'm anchored in the back, the center presses through, and then the arms kind of follow. In the sense you've got the same kind of dynamic. The center falls into the back, presses through, and creates it. So this is I really like this move. It's a very simple.
And the upwards movement.
Yeah. Very, very simple move. Simple, direct. Yeah, good. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I think that you basically start this movement in the back foot and you really find the front foot. So as you're making the kind of strike, it's quite easy in this case to do where I'm basically out of balance through the cut. So really feel that you sink into the back leg, create the movement, and then you really clunk straight into the front leg. And then later what that means is I can basically come straighter into the foot, into the thrust. So just play the last few moments. Just play with it a little bit more dynamic. You come through and then thrust. Wait. If I'm reasonably balanced, I can pull this off. I'm not really balanced. I can't really do it. Wait. It's a nice test. So just look for this kind of very comfortable point. Break it down, and then you can also do it in a little bit more of a fluid way. Oui. And last 30 seconds, so just do this really slow. So you come into the command, you thrust through, and then you thrust. You strike and then you thrust. It's super, super slow. So you can do it in a way fluid and slow motion. It's like someone hits slow motion. You go like this. Oh, it was terrible. And again. Oh, really bad. Oh, so do this slow and get the quality. So, yeah. So that's good. So, okay, we'll stop there. はい。どうもありがとうございます。
どうも。
どうもありがとうございました。
So, very good.
Very much, Michael.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.